Yep.
This is quite amazing. It's really, really nice to be back at an actual conference again. This used to be my life, and then something called the pandemic, don't know if anyone's heard about it, came along and ruined all of that. It's wonderful to be here, and wonderful to be back in one of my favorite locations. We have two amazing people to discuss this topic with today, and what I'd like to start with is, really it's better if you tell everybody about who you are, about what you do, and most importantly, why this is an incredibly important subject for you. And I think we should go with ladies first. So, Annette, would you like to introduce yourself?
It's really interesting to be here and not to be here. So, hello to all of you. So, my name is Annette Maier, and currently I'm running the Google Cloud organization since 2 years now for Google, and I think it's really important for all of us to think about what we as individuals, my former speaker said it already, what we can do in terms of sustainability and how we can make the difference. But even better, being at a company like Google, we can really make the difference, and we can also enable and empower others to make the difference, because looking at the climate and that challenge, we definitely need to have a change here.
Fantastic. Thank you, Annette. Carsten, please tell everybody about yourself and why it's so important.
Definitely, Stewart. Thank you very much, and still good morning to everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I personally represent a team of 150 people sitting in Dresden and enthusiastically think about decentralized energy in the next years, where we think a lot of changes need to happen. And our personal goal is that we think that human beings are able to make a change in energy, which is an important part of sustainability, until 2030. That's the decisional years. Those 10 years will count, which will later on happen in the upcoming 40 or 50 years. And we strongly believe that technology can be a pillar, an important pillar of that change. And renewables are not, and let me call it, it's not a joke anymore. It's absolutely serious that we mass employ and mass deploy renewables in those years, and we will help for that. Installations, monitoring, and optimizations. And with the help of technology partners, we think we will make it in the upcoming 10 years.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Carsten. Let's start with, how would you summarize really what your company's sustainability goals are when it comes to power supplies? Annette, could you take that one first?
Sure. So actually, sustainability has been in our DNA since we founded in 1998, sorry. And at the end of the first decade, in 2007, we were the first major company to be carbon neutral in our operations. And since then, across all our products, so it doesn't matter if it's search, if it's an email we send, or if it's a video we stream to YouTube, this has been a carbon neutral,
also beides Mono. Ich habe beide Interviewpartner
from all of our data centers. So at the end of our second decade, we actually were the first company to be carbon neutral in our operations, and since then across all our sites, we were in our annual operations, and what we had as an electricity consumption, we were fully supported by renewable energy, and this was actually 3 years in a row. So now, and I think a couple of you saw it already yesterday, we in our third decade are aiming for even more. We are aiming for a carbon-free future, and we want to enable everyone to help us here. Our goal as a company is to run our business, so for example our data centers, but also our campuses, on a carbon-free energy. And this needs to be everywhere all the time. And this is by far our, let's say, biggest moonshot in terms of sustainability, but also with an enormous, as you can imagine, practical, but also technical complexity behind that. So we are committed to not only achieve it, but also make it as the first company.
Excellent, thank you so much. Carsten, same question to you. Please, tell us about your sustainability goals when it comes to this.
Definitely, and I think that's why we basically have similar targets as Google, but as a very much smaller company. Our people and our employees seriously really discuss sustainability every day. We're a part of Climate Partners, and we really try to monitor and live sustainability. And in that terms, that's the only way our products can really seriously also represent sustainability in a customer context. If you live this sustainability also yourself, and it's not greenwashing at the end. They basically harvest then, or they recognize that you mean it serious. And our goal is basically through facilitating the installations of renewables, monitoring their usage, makes them more efficient through this, and optimizing the energy flow and the distribution, we can heavily accelerate the deployment of renewables. And that's our goal, to contribute in this matter.
So they're both awesome answers. I mean, it leads me to think about the message that you want to convey when it comes to improving power supply efficiency. I mean, that's something that we have to think about very strongly, not just with Google, with Kiwigrid, but with every corporation. Corporations are responsible for 70% plus of all of the carbon emissions, and we have to fix this at a corporation level. So what is your main message? What do you want to convey about your particular company's contribution to improving power supply efficiency? Annette?
So I personally think we cannot, as a company, so it's not something as also mentioned by the two of you, we cannot achieve it on our own or alone. So this change has to be a change where we are work together, and that's the reason why we are not only committed to, let's say, try to be better in our own operations by creating tools and investing into technology. We also want to help everyone moving towards and moving forward to a carbon-free world, because this, at the end of the day, will help all of us. And what we are currently aiming for is we want to share and rolling out our breakthrough AI technology for building energy efficiency to industrial, but also to commercial buildings. And this technology then definitely should enable others to also run their data centers or their commercials more efficient and more effectively, because we already proved that you can save more than 30%. And this is something we definitely want to share with others. And that's the reason why we are really proud that we can empower customers and partners like Kiwigrid in their ambitious goals. I know that accelerating the German Energiewende is one of these goals, that this is something where we're very proud that we can support and help to achieve these goals.
Excellent, thank you, Annette. Carsten, what can you add to that? Tell me your viewpoint.
Yeah, thank you. And I would basically like to continue a little bit the words from Annette, where I think that the German Energiewende is an excellent basis to have the, let's call it, the change started. 1.6 million solar-powered plants, almost 700,000 electric vehicles right now, and 1 million heat pumps are an excellent network to be connected as a decentralized power, and can, from my point of view, with the right technologies, with information technologies, work as a virtual power plant, fully replacing existing fossil power plants. And from that point of view, we Kiwigrid basically are about local energy. We call it also your own energy. Everybody can do energy transition and Energiewende himself. Every company and every household can at least either deploy a power plant, a renewable power plant, or use electricity from a renewable power plant. And this is exactly the way we think the change could be accelerated. And we will help. We will talk later on shortly about it with a strong local, intelligence and a strong cloud-powered intelligence to make that efficient.
Excellent. I mean, let's dig a little bit deeper into Google and Kiwigrid. So how does Google and Kiwigrid together help technologies or solutions to address the current challenges? And those challenges are huge. So we have to think of really interesting ways to solve these problems. Annette, what's your view on this?
So I think so, as already pointed out by Carsten, so our distributed energy landscape of the future needs to have a platform. And this platform needs to be reliable, but also globally scalable and driven by open source. And this is something which is essential because we will need to connect millions of devices. And these devices need to be connected securely, but also reliable. And then on top of that, this will come with a hell of a lot of data, tons and tons of data, which needs to be analyzed and this needs to be analyzed in real time. And without the possibility and opportunity to realize it, we will not be able to make smart, but also be the right decisions to use energy in an efficient way, but also distribute it in the right way. So therefore, we from Google Cloud, we are providing a platform which gives companies like, for example, Kiwigrid, but also other technology providers and partners in this ecosystem the possibility to build solutions which can work against that, so what we need. And then on top of that, which is very important, it's without being an expert in machine learning or an expert like a data science. So we are trying to enable actually all companies with our technology to help us to achieve our goal in being carbon neutral.
Yeah, excellent point on not requiring people to be experts in machine learning, because that is something that's only going to appeal to a certain number of individuals. Carsten, tell me your viewpoint on this as well.
Yeah, definitely. And our team currently works proudly in Dresden on the newest version of our operational system. It's named KiwiOS 10. It will be ready in Q2 next year, and it's based on the Google Cloud platform, which dramatically helps us to leverage things like machine learning, data intelligence, but also connectivity and scalability for international use cases. And thanks to the Google team to make that possible with a very tight and close support in that. And the main thing about this is the upcoming connectivity to electricity is not only local usage anymore, it's also what we call in Germany sector coupling. So you use that renewable energy you cannot use locally for your mobility nationwide and also for heating. Once you combine that sectors in the futures, you will have much more efficiency. And KiwiOS 10 will enable sector coupling for that areas.
I mean, I've been around the tech industry for a long, long time, and one of the things that I've always maintained is that while Silicon Valley might think it can solve all of the world's problems with technology, I think we have to solve a lot of the world's problems without technology too. What are your joint efforts here in terms of going beyond technology to solve the biggest issue we probably have ahead of us?
So if you ask me, I don't know if we can solve it without technology, being with Google. But nevertheless, I think it's important what I mentioned before. So if we really want to achieve this goal and want to be part of solving our challenge in terms of climate, then we definitely need definitely need to assure that we A, extend our capabilities, but B, what is even more important, that we bring together an ecosystem. So by bringing together startups like Kiwigrid, but also our technology and then other key players in the industry, let's say the whole ecosystems, partners, then I think we can play a substantial role in achieving sustainability goals, but I think it will be around technology.
Thank you, Annette. Carsten, yeah, tell me more about how we take this beyond technology also.
Yeah, so I also strongly believe in that ecosystems idea, and I think three groups of companies which really need to work together beside technology companies are manufacturers of OEM equipment, so people who manufacture also beautiful solar modules and CHPs. I think car makers and also utilities. Those three groups need to work together, and the shareholders of Kiwigrid are a good example for that. We have Acton, which is a company of Stefan Quandt. We have LG Electronics, and we have E.ON thinking about exactly that, working together. And working together just does not mean optimization, it means value chain. From the first contact point, a customer wants a renewable equipment, to the last service point, we need to be integrated. It's a lot of too much hassle currently to deploy a solar power plant or a CHP, and platforms can help not only to optimize the flow, it can also help to optimize the fulfillment of renewables. And an excellent example for helping facilitating the fulfillment, a little bit advertising for the company, is the new energy manager Voyager, which is the first DIY integrated device which you can deploy locally and which has the intelligence to connect all of these three sectors plug and play. Coming up next year.
Excellent, thank you. We've got time for just one more question, and I think one of the things that is coming across here is the partnership that's been formed here and how powerful that is. For everybody that is thinking of doing something similar, that wants to form these kinds of partnerships, what is the most important thing they need to do first to get started with that, and what should they be focusing on? Annette, maybe you can tell us a little bit from your experience of Google and Kiwigrid.
Yeah, I think there has to be a clear vision. What you want to achieve, then definitely you need to define a common goal, and then it's all about the execution. So it's all about bringing the teams together, forming a common goal, and then going forward and simply build it and execute on it.
Thank you. Carsten, what have you learned from all of this?
I just can add that I think you always have to think outside the box. So I just can thank the people from Google. They always, do not look for processes or any, sponsoring or any person to be connected to. They just do, And that's exactly to get something running with a startup. We have limited resources, limited time, and we need to get things done.
So it's about doing rather than talking about it, and then just finding out what happens and adjusting as you go. So
learn. Good
old-fashioned iterative behavior. Fantastic. I'd like to thank you both so very much for being here at GreenTech. This has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation, and thank you for all of your efforts, and I wish you well in solving the next big issue that we have coming up after we get past the current one that we're going through. But thank you so much, and please, audience, show your warm appreciation for Annette and for Carsten.
Many thanks.
Thank you very much.